All right, what's going on, people? So today, man, I had a breakthrough, and this is gonna sound real basic. It's probably gonna sound pretty basic, but you, stay with me. So, um, I was thinking about fear, or fear being the base. Whether that be anxiety, worry, nervousness, all of these things. In my opinion, they all stem from being afraid or fear. You're afraid of something. So I was thinking about my life and how I've sort of hindered myself in particular situations and just in my own personal growth. Um, I was kind of comparing it to skateboarding. So I've skateboarded for many years. I've talked about this before on this channel, getting close to 20 years now. So I've done it for a really long time, and I've learned a lot of life lessons through skateboarding. But one of the things that I've learned is okay. So take this example. So say there's a handrail. So you know what a handrail is? A rail that goes down a set of stairs. And as skateboarders, we grind or slide on these rails, right? So when you're trying to do a trick down, say, a handrail, this could apply to any sort of skateboarding that involves, a high risk situation. So, but take, for example, the handrail. So I'm trying to do a trick on this handrail, grind it, slide it, whatever. I'm trying to jump onto it. So the process of getting to the handrail and doing a trick on this handrail takes me having to psych myself up to do something that I'm afraid of, right? I'm afraid to get on this rail because I'm thinking about every possible negative situation, negative scenario that can happen if I don't do it correctly the first time when I get on it. So this will look like me running up to the rail full speed and then stopping and then looking at the rail and imagining myself getting on the rail, doing all this different mental gymnastics in order to get myself prepared to actually attempt to get on the rail. So eventually, after however many attempts it takes for me to grow the confidence to be like, all right, fuck it, here we go. And having the confidence to pop the skateboard and put it on the rail, and whether or not I do the trick first try, but getting on the rail and say I even get on it and then jump away and land on my feet and I'm safe. You know what I mean? And I realized at that point, oh, that wasn't as bad as I imagined it to be in my mind. I psyched myself out. It wasn't that bad. So that turns into me now every single time that I go at this rail, I'm popping with confidence, getting on the rail, jumping away, doing it again, eventually getting to the point where I land the trick and roll away, and boom, there you go. Got the trick on the rail. So I kind of attributed this to real life, like real life experiences and situations. But I noticed for myself, see, with that handrail, I would be able to now not only pop on it with confidence, now I can do different tricks on it. And I feel comfortable. But all I had to do was get past that initial attempt where I was psyching myself out and putting it on the rail and realizing it wasn't that scary. It wasn't as bad as I thought. But I've noticed in my own real life and in different situations that sometimes that exposure to the stimulus, exposure to that thing that's frightening you, making you anxious and nervous, I've noticed for me that getting that metaphorical getting on the rail, so to speak, sometimes isn't enough. I'll expose myself to something and be like, damn, that wasn't. So I'll do it. I'll expose myself to something that makes me nervous or afraid. And then some time will pass and then I'll try and do it again, or I'll think about doing it again, knowing I need to do it again for whatever reason, and still having the anxiety, still having the fear, still having the worry. Even though the first time I did it, I was like, oh man. And after I did it and got it over with, I was like, it wasn't even that bad. I was tripping. I was big tripping. But then now trying to do it again, I still have that same amount of nervousness, still have that same, you know what I mean? Whereas in skateboarding, all I needed was that one. I needed to get on it one time and now I know. You know what I mean? So I say all of that to say that I've learned for myself, I need like hyper exposure to certain things. There's certain things that I have to just do it over and over and over and over again. Sometimes not even doing it for the sake of whatever it may be. Say it's I don't know, getting on stage and talking in front of people. That could be an example. That's something that I'm not actually, but that's something most people are very nervous about and are afraid of. So I would do something like that, not only just to deliver whatever message I was trying to deliver, or whatever particular reason I needed to speak in front of people for, and only doing it when those times arrive, but instead just doing it for the sake of doing it, and just so I can get over the fear and anxiety of it. You know what I mean? Or if it's like you're afraid of starting new jobs and messing up or something like that, or failing, going and just trying a whole bunch of odd jobs just for the sake of doing it and getting accustomed to failing or whatever it may be, not even necessarily for the money, which is also a very good perk of doing something like that as well. But that's my point. Sometimes we need hyper exposure to certain stimuli and experiences in order to overcome them. It was like driving for a lot of people. There's probably a lot of anxiety around driving before you know how to drive. And then once you drive over and over and over and over and over and over again, then it's like, this is just second nature. This is just what we do. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was kind of a breakthrough I had. Even though this is something I already knew, but I was able to like articulate it to myself in a way that I was like, I feel like somebody else could get some value from this. So hyper exposure, like just doing things over and over again to sort of overcome the nervousness, anxiety, fear, worry, doubt that you have about whatever that thing may be. And just being okay with like failure, because I think that's the biggest thing, is being afraid to fail, being afraid to mess up, being afraid of looking stupid or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever it may be. But yeah, sometimes it takes more than one. It takes more than two or three. And especially if you're doing something, get it over with and you're like, oh, it wasn't even that bad. And then you take a long extended gap in between the time you did it and the next time you do it. You're gonna rebuild all of that craziness in your mind, especially if you're a thinker and you overthink things, so on and so forth. So yeah, that's the message, man. Sometimes you need to hyper expose yourself, put yourself in the position over and over and over again, sometimes only for the sake of getting over it and nothing else. Anyway, appreciate y'all watching. Once again, if y'all got any comments, please leave them. Peace.